Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, along with Joe Schaefer, Scott Cosenza, Sarah Cowgill, and Graham Noble. And this is the Conservative Five, Liberty Nation's online TV news program. On the set of his low-budget film Rust, Alec Baldwin pointed a long Colt .45 revolver toward the camera and pulled the trigger. The gun, having been checked by two set folks, the armorer and an assistant director, was deemed cold, jargon used in the film industry. It was, however, as we now know, hot, and Baldwin fired a live round into the cinematographer and a cast director, killing the camerawoman and injuring two additional people. Baldwin pointed the finger at everyone but himself, although anyone with a lick of sense would not point a gun, loaded or not, at anyone they did not want to kill. We're talking firearm safety 101 here, folks. That's messy enough, but hey, this is Hollywood, and of course now there is a twist. A claim of intentional sabotage. Cue the dramatic music, please. There are now two lawsuits filed against Baldwin. One was filed in California State Court and names the actor personally. The legal action asked for compensatory and punitive damages. Scott, what prompted the sabotage angle?
Well, the set had a lot of labor strife. Basically, you called it a low budget film, and I suppose it was several $1 million. So, I'm old enough to think that that's still worth some money, I guess. But they originally, I think, had told a lot of the people who worked on the film that they would be able to get local hotel rooms and not have to drive the hour plus from, basically with the population centers where they lived. And then they withdrew that. And there was a strike vote called for the set. And that day, a lot of people walked off the set because of those labor issues. So, we have a long history in this country of labor unions using violence and extra legal means to get what they want, and that's been alleged here. I think it remains to be seen whether or not that is the case, but it's certainly a fascinating angle to the story. And now Gloria Allred, she's the lawyer representing the new plaintiff, by the way. And one thing that says to me is that it's not a terribly serious case, and that she's looking mostly to make hay in the media, which is what Ms. Allred specializes in.
Joe, I know you're a huge Alec Baldwin fan.
It's funny because he is a brilliant actor and a great comedian. It's personally, I and his politics are vile, but I actually am a big Alec Baldwin fan. That's the truth of it.
Okay, and actually, that question was going to Joe.
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
I am not a huge Alec Baldwin fan. I have no problem with Americans being fascinated with this story. I would just point out that I don't find Hollywood interesting at all anymore. And I used to be a big movie fan. This thing jumped the shark 20 years ago. They haven't been making good movies in over 20 years. I think we all know it, and we all just kind of shrug our shoulders and accept it. But I just, it's fun to talk about these things. I don't buy the idea that Alec Baldwin in 2021 is that interesting or that important a person, because I don't think anyone in Hollywood is that important anymore. So it's fun to talk about it. I just don't think these people are consequential. To me, it's like being fascinated with streetcars today. Hollywood is just so done to me. And I really don't care what happens to Alec Baldwin in the long run.
All right, Graham, you know a little something about firearms. And I can tell you when I was 16 and was on the range, and the range instructor and my father, taught me never, ever, ever, ever point a gun at anyone.
Well, yeah, I do think it's inconceivable personally. I know, when they're making a movie, they got certain procedures and all of this kind of thing. And, and actors, it's kind of funny because actors, as much money as they rake in, it is actually quite a lot of hard work to make a movie, especially if you're the leading actor, one of the stars of that movie. That's an awful lot of hard work. It's long hours. Obviously, the crew is going to try to make things or in theory, is going to try to make things as easy as the actors as possible, not burden them with extra things that they have to do, extra tasks. But nevertheless, I just still think that really any individual who is handling a firearm in a movie to me, they should be checking that weapon themselves, and if they don't know how to, they should have been trained to know how to do that. Because I don't think anybody should just take a handgun from somebody else and that person says, oh, it's empty, or as they say on the film set, it's cold, and you're just going to believe that, and then you're going to pick up that firearm and pointing at someone and then actually squeeze the trigger. To me, that's insane. I would like to add one quick thing, just a little point about the whole sabotage theory. On the face of it, I suppose to most people that sounds kind of crazy. What, really? Some disgruntled union guy is going to like put live rounds on a movie set and possibly kill somebody? Well, in a previous life, I did a lot of different types of security work. And one of the things that I did was I spent a lot of my time on picket lines during industrial disputes, facing off with striking union members. And I can tell you that some of them are incredibly vicious. They can be incredibly violent, and they will endanger life. One day I was driving out of the plant in the evening, and they had thrown onto the street across the plant entrance what they call jack rocks, which are little objects that have little nails sticking out of them. They'd thrown them out there deliberately to take out our tires. Well, they took out the tire of the bus that I was driving, and I went down I was going down the freeway, and the tire blew. And I had several guys in the back of the bus. In theory, that bus could have gone off the road. We could have all been killed. So they're not above doing things like that, I have to say.
Well, that's an interesting story. Sarah, do you think sabotage is a possibility, or is that far-fetched?
I'm going to say it's not far-fetched. It's possible. But there was a second lawsuit filed. And I think what really happened is that Alec Baldwin is a pompous is a pompous jerk. And it wasn't in the script. He went off script. The script for the day was 3 shots in that church. One was showing him remove the gun from his holster. One was looking in his cool dead eyes. And I don't know what the other one was. There were 3 shots. And somehow he pulled that gun out, he leveled it, and he shot.
Well, that's interesting, because the second lawsuit filed by a crew member, says the suit basically says the gun was never to be fired during the scene that he was rehearsing.
Right. And the other thing is, he's the producer. He knew there was stuff going on. He knew from the get-go that they had a gun malfunction on set already. So here he is playing with a firearm, and now he's going, oh, it's a 1 in a trillion chance. No, it's not. There's your shot right there. And Mr. Baldwin, he's too busy being a star. He wasn't busy being safe. He hired a very newbie when it comes to armorers to save money. He hired an assistant director who also was brought up on industry kind of complaints where he wasn't safe on a set. He had another gun discharge. And, he's gathered all of these people that seem to be not being able to do their job because they're not the best in the business.
Well, it'll be interesting, panel, to see whether Alec Baldwin turns in his red carpet for an orange jumpsuit anytime soon.
He's not going to have to go to prison. He's going to have to write checks, maybe.
I'm going to suggest we apply the Rittenhouse rules to this situation. Personally, I feel the same way about Alec Baldwin as Scott feels. I absolutely detest his politics. I happen to think he's a pretty decent actor and a pretty funny guy. He doesn't seem to be like a very pleasant human being, but that's just my personal perception. And I'm sure this shooting probably really did actually just is haunting him. How could it not be? But having said that, let's apply the left's Rittenhouse rules. Okay, that we transported firearms across state lines, which apparently is always illegal. The mere fact that he had a gun in his hand makes him an active shooter. The mere fact that he had a gun in his hand means that he obviously had the intention to kill people. I mean, this is all, from a legal perspective, this is all dangerous territory. And I want to add the disclaimer that I'm not actually accusing Mr. Baldwin.
Graham, you're leaving out the most damning thing, which is he's an old white guy.
but never, and he's an old white guy. Yeah. So you know, he may be in a lot of trouble. Yeah.
He has that wife who's a fake Spaniard that he has to deal with too. He keeps popping out kids, so he's living in a jail cell already. That's pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since you guys completely blew through my clothes, we'll say bye-bye. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform, Vimeo, YouTube, Rumble. We're on them all. As well, Liberty Nation has its own Roku channel where you can see all of our TV productions. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to surf on over to libertynation.com. Sign up for our new member zone, just $29.99 for the entire year. Special thanks to our fantastic editor and post coordinator, Frank Diorio. Our executive producer, Sarah Cowgill. I'm Lisa K. Donner, editor-in-chief. Thanks for joining us today. This has been a production of libertynation.com, where truth is making a comeback.